us.
Get up and sit here.
I know, we could also...
Well, luckily, you can probably not be in it.
I mean, we made a big enough shit about it. Now you better be able to, everybody better look at it and print it out.
Draw a circle around you, highlight it.
That'll be the next Club PA survey. Will be to find yourself in the picture and send it back.
Okay.
What are we doing?
We're splitting the people in the back down the 2 aisles.
Okay.
Yeah, I know, really, like,
Tallest in the front.
stand in the middle. Don't drop it. You did catch it.
And the paddles over.
Yeah. No, you want to be in the middle? Okay.
No, I was waiting for the other people in the aisle.
Oh!
In the same way that
Sorry. I was not listening.
this way you didn't have to
Is this the chat here? Yeah.
It's fucking crazy.
So you just look at the chat there. Mm-hmm. So do you just like talk to yourself?
Yeah,
all day?
all the time.
Jesus Christ.
It's fun.
Oh man, the internet is watching.
What?
Yeah. Is it gonna be on?
It's on right now.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh. Nice.
So say hello.
Hello. All right. Hey, thanks so much for rolling through the Club PA Q&A custom top secret alpha level security event. Now, what is
there anyone here who should not be here?
All right, everyone turn their gaze, their baleful gaze toward those people. No, we also have the rest of the club actually with us via this strange device that Josh has on his shoulder. So let us greet them in our customary way. We don't have one. Let's just say. I
got really nervous.
Yeah, just like, I don't know the song. Well, because I have a neighbor who likes soccer a lot.
Yeah.
Like more than I like anything at all. And I like stuff. And they have like a songbook how we can compete with Amazon. But the main thing is just to really honor the people who come to us for the book. And it's one way we intend to do it. Yep. Okay. Do you want me to sing What Is Love? Like, what is like? Like, baby, don't hurt me. Baby,
What is love?
do I have to look at him? Oh, yes, I can. Yes. Young Gabriel has determined the loophole. Yes, I can. Well, I know.
With your new book coming out through Wizards,
Indeed.
it's an official Wizards book. Will it be on D&D Beyond?
We don't, that is not the conversation that we have had. All I know is that every other Dungeons & Dragons book is delivered via D&D Beyond and is searchable in the master database. For me, I guess I thought the fantasy was having an official D&D book that has the proper livery and can live on the shelf adjacent to the other books and feel cool, right? Feel dressed appropriately. But no, I think that my actual fantasy is to have someone type documancy or one of the other nonsense words I've made up into D&D Beyond, and then have that search
PDF arrive?
and then to have that search deliver it. So, all I can tell you is that the book that we have is made according to the same what? Oh, here, do we have this official now?
I will say that the intention is that it should be plugged into D&D Beyond. That is not on our side of things. That's not the other side of things. But the thought is that it will be in there. I can't say for sure. It's just that we can't necessarily guarantee it. But
It's not our job to do it.
Yeah, exactly. Just because that part of the conversation, like the contract that we have is very detailed, but it refers to digital storefronts. And Dungeons & Dragons books only exist through one digital storefront. So in an abundance of caution and a desire not to lie to you,
Yes, it will be.
yes, absolutely. We'll try to drill down into that. Again, like once we have fed like our book into that beast, like there's eldritch processes that take hold. But the book was made, by an editor who's worked with them before. The file itself is compatible with the rest of their processes. So parting that out into its component pieces for searchability on there and purchasability via the digital storefront should be okay, but we'll see. I'll make sure you know. I'll tell Patrick, and so he can put it up on the interior thing.
Yes.
I had a whole preamble, but for sake of brevity, I'll just cut it short. How do you, when you're running a written module in D&D, how do you organically weave in players' backstories into that kind of experience?
That's a great question.
So how do you weave in player backstories
Into pre-made content.
into pre-made content? So I ran for Gabe and Noah and Kara. I ran, Dragonlance. Yeah, so Dragons of Autumn. So I had them all transported into this new world. Kryn, yeah. And so Gabe, you played a paladin. So with the paladin, Kryn is a world where the gods is all left. A paladin comes in and brings a new god with him. And so at the end...
Ooh, that's a good hook.
Yeah, at the end, there's that statue of the goddess in the ruined city.
Oh, for sure.
When he got back, there was a new statue of his god there. And then Kara had come into this world with amnesia. There was a statue of her at the end. Turns out she'd been a god that had left. I don't fuck around. And Noah was... I had him be one of the lost knights. No, the knights that came back. I don't know. You just have to be really cool.
The main thing for me is that obviously I have my questions that I ask players, and so I make sure that I have some background information on them.
I've adapted that slightly.
Yeah. So as long as you have a little bit of surveillance on the players, you can usually surprise them with interesting stuff, but it's something that you'd have to know. You could either... a lot of times what happens behind that screen, as you well know, is that you're making it up as you go along.
They don't know. They don't know the story.
Don't.
Even in a pre-made, I mean, they don't know it. That's the thing you have to keep reminding yourself.
Like, I'll pause for a few seconds and they'll think that I'm just gazing on some mindscape when I'm like, that's not in the fucking game.
What do I do
It's
now?
not even the type of thing you can do in the game.
Yeah.
But I have to work it out. The main thing is you know as much about them as you can, and then it's probably worth reading through that material, especially the breakout boxes, and just trying to make sure that if, it's possible that one of the contact characters should be somebody that you put in. They don't know. They don't know, and that's going to be a weapon for you in that context. Thank you. Well, it's my pleasure. That's it.
I just couldn't help but notice that on the sign by the main theater, Aaron Hansen's name was written on a piece of tape across the top. Was that a super last minute thing that popped up?
Tape? Is Ryan here?
No, we have Laura from work to answer Ryan-related questions. So.
Surrogate Ryan. Laura.
I just didn't put it on, and then they put it on for me
With tape?
with tape. That's what we do.
We solve problems.
With tape.
There was another hand back.
There was a hand way in the back, yeah.
Yeah, Mike, are you going to release any more expansions for Thornwatch?
This is the crowd to talk about this with, isn't it?
I don't know.
Yes.
This is the crowd that you should talk to me.
I came a long way to ask that question.
I will say that
Yeah.
I'm very proud of the way Thornwatch came out, but the process of making it nearly
That's true. No, that's actually quite true. That was a dangerous. Certainly near the end of that was not a healthy
yeah.
death march. Although if there is a healthy death march, please let me know.
Kiko is here, and I think a big part of it is me in that, in my mind, I thought that I could offload a lot of the design and artwork onto, Loan Shark, but I don't do that well. And so when work comes in and it's not what I want, I end up just doing it, right?
Yeah.
Or Kiko stays in the office and does it, or Dave, and so we ended up just killing ourselves to make that game look
It's the standards.
as good as
It's
it does.
the standards, and
Yeah.
we're trying to do better about lowering them. We're trying to do less and worse,
Yeah. Rather than just kill ourselves.
but we're not good at it.
So I want to make expansions to it. I don't know what they're going to look like or how that's going to work yet. Sorry.
So on that note, how was your involvement with the Clank setup?
Oh man. Okay. So he wants to know what our involvement with the Clank setup in this context. I assume we're talking about Clank Acquisitions Incorporated Legacy. Yes, I'm well pleased. I would say that's a very, very different. That is a 180-degree difference.
Yeah, I mean, literally Kiko and Dave were designing those cards. All those files came down to us, and this...
Every icon...
Yeah.
When one enters into a creative partnership, generally speaking, you're hoping that it's going to be you're both pulling the rope in one direction.
Yeah.
And sometimes that doesn't happen.
But with Clank, we're just getting big files of art, and the game is done. I mean,
Yeah. So with Clank, it's got hundreds of cards in it because it's a deck builder, but it's also a legacy game, and so you're physically destroying cards once game events occur. There's a big, it's called the Cardporium, I think, currently, but there's just a box in there that just has a huge stack of cards, like a Dewey Decimal type system. And then you're reaching in there and pulling them out. And every one of those has custom art. Every one of those has custom text. Every one of them has flavor text. Alongside that, there is an entire book called the Book of Secrets. So it has some choose your own adventure. Obviously, choose your own adventure is a copyrighted term. But it has some... Watch the fuck
I know.
out. These motherfuckers will...
They're probably listening right now.
They will...
I mean, we have the whole internet.
But no, they're on Twitch because they're members. It's like the call was coming from inside the house.
Yeah.
So, but it includes a book of secrets, which has a choose your own adventure style thing. So in addition to playing this game that you are building and changing in your personal decks that are growing and changing over the course of the game, there's also an extra book. So anytime there's a piece of text, I look at it, and if I'm not happy with it, I rewrite it. Generally speaking, the book of secrets has been quite good. I've only modified things when I thought they could be even cooler, as opposed to like having to fix them outright. But we talked about how the story should go at the beginning. And so it's basically just a matter of them checking in with us. And so like all the flavor text for the cards, that's going to be my task too. So as soon as we get back from East, I have a spreadsheet from Alyssa. It is very long. And it has a space. And it's just my job to make sure that that space, which is now empty, becomes full of something that you will snicker at, hopefully a couple times over the course of your adventure, right? But working with them thus far has been great. I mean, we'll get massive sheets of cards, and then Kiko will be like, no, not on this, not this way.
And they fix them.
Yeah, and they fix them, right? And so that process has been really, really interesting. If anything, they're moving really, really fast.
They are.
And we have to kind of like catch them sometimes and be like, right, let's just make sure that everybody agrees with what's happening. But no, that part has been really, really good. And that'll be out this year too. Like the book and that, like those are the big things. Like I have talked about those projects in these Q&As. I mean, it has to be coming up on a year now. Yeah. But they're both fucking coming out this year. It's bonkers.
In one of the first games where you acquisition Zane played with your new DM, you said that Jim had never prepared his spells before the game started. I was wondering if that was like was that actually true, and kind of that transition, more about that transition from
That's 100% true.
Well, yeah, Jeremy Crawford is very different from Chris Perkins.
Yeah. He is.
Not just physically.
But also the reality is that I never took anything great, so I never felt like I was gaming the system. Like, if I was using like, I had another fireball or whatever, like, I'm coming in there with a rope trick that maybe I wasn't supposed to have. I don't know. It didn't bother me to cheat.
But yeah, I mean, in terms of spell preparation and, components, things like that, there's...
Even Jeremy doesn't, I don't think he gives a shit about components.
I think that he does give a shit about components, but I think that he recognizes that playing it live on stage, it has to result in something, it has to be a little fluid, right? But he is like the lead rules designer for 5e. And so I've had conversations with, so it's a very different, playing under him is very, very different.
Yeah.
And so when I've talked to him after a couple games, I was like, you don't really like how Chris runs Dungeons & Dragons. And he did not answer. And that is because the answer was no. I don't like it. But what he said I thought was so fascinating. And at the same time, it's like, yeah, it's not 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons. That's not what he's running.
Yeah.
All right. So it's like, is that good or bad? It's a thing.
It's a stage show.
It's a stage show. What I thought was interesting is that because Jeremy Crawford is Jeremy Crawford, he knows what version every one of Chris's rules that he maintains is from. And so he's like, okay, well, that's from 3rd edition. That's from 4th edition. This is actually some AD&D stuff
He still has kicking around.
that he still has kicking around. And I think that's true for any dungeon master who has been doing it a while, is that the system that you have in your head is like an amalgamation of everything that you've played before, and some things that you just have to make up at the time. So, yeah.
I got a question for you guys.
Yeah.
How's it been like re-recording DLC? Because from me, personally, I love that it's been having back. And I don't know if anybody else agrees with me on that.
The truth is, like I say, so I have in the new configuration, like the new organism that the environment that I'm in required that I become in order to do this stuff. I have a carapace, as you see, pincers. So I have a lot of meetings, like a lot. Like every week I have a lot. And then like every other week there's even more meetings given on that, right? Some of those are going to go away because they're connected to projects that are just not done, right? So that's not a big deal. But when it comes to, I don't know what I was talking about. I'm sorry,
I wasn't thinking about that at all.
Pincers.
I was getting really
Oh,
hungry.
DLC. I basically had to, like, codify all that stuff very, very explicitly and directly. And then I had to like carve a space out of that mesh, because there's also like the streaming chunk at the end of each day, and so the time during the day is very, very.
But also, like that portion of time where you and I write the strip is going to sound weird, but I think it's a very unguarded moment in a day where you're doing a lot of stuff that is not like that.
That's true. That's
so,
true.
And so adding a microphone into that scenario even.
Yeah. So for
is
us,
extra.
Yeah, because that's in some ways like that's what was like the seed crystal for so many other things. I mean, to a certain extent, including this show.
Yeah.
Right. Having to. That is like one of the very few times where we get to like be with each other, so to speak. And right. And it's true. And so choosing to bring the microphone back into what is more or less like one of the very few times we can actually like be intimate, so to speak. It took some doing, and then figuring out where in the week that is, and then as the week is moving on, it's like we need to make sure that we do this, and honestly, we should do two. If we want to do this and we want to do it correctly, because it went away for a while, and if we're going to bring it back, I don't want to be in the situation where I've brought it back and you have developed a dependency, a physical dependency on it.
And then we just snatch it away.
Exactly. If I was going to bring it back, I wanted to make sure that we could really do it. And I think that we've got it. I think that we actually have the cadence down for it. So even if there's a show or something, we get in earlier in the week and we make sure that we drop one. So like the one that we recorded on Monday, gosh, it might even be the one you might even have it already. But that one is like 52 minutes long or something. Yeah. Like, so that one struck me, and I think that it was just having the microphone back in there long enough for it to disappear, right? Because some of the earlier ones, like you definitely get the strip process from the return, but we don't meander really. And if you like the meandering, it's back. If you want to hear about my son's furry, his fursona, I think is the term. You're gonna hear a lot about it. It's a cat, it turns out. But it's like a cyborg cat. Yes, Josh. Josh, are you getting questions from the stream?
Yep. Question from Interesting Mix. I know it can be a stressful experience, and we certainly know reasons why and understand if the answer is not this time, but will Mike be able to make it to PAX Oz this year?
No. It's just basically, well, I mean, I was in a position to see, just like the microphone I discussed before, like, I get to see all of it, right?
The whole mess.
The whole, well, who you are. And could be a mess. But for me, it's like, after I saw what it took for you to come down for like a day and a half, 2 days, I decided that I would never ask him to do it again. And it's because it was not, it was gruesome.
Yeah, I mean, this is not what I want to do with my life. No offense to anybody here. Like,
you want to make the stuff.
If I woke up in the morning and drew a comic and then saw no other human being and went to bed, I would feel like I had succeeded beyond my expectations.
Like, what if you saw a tree or a bird?
Fine, I guess.
Yeah. But yeah, the conversations that I had with him, when I basically made him come down, I can't do it again. So I can't help. I have the power, but I won't use it for evil.
I just want to say, I'm an Australian who lives in Seattle. I don't want to catch that flight either.
So we're talking about Australians who themselves find it.
Yeah, I don't like flying around our country. It's just crazy. I will say the last time when I was down there and I had to come back, I had to cut my trip short.
Yeah.
I was in that position where I just had to leave now, and I didn't care how much it cost.
No, you lost it.
I flew back business class, which is an experience that I will only ever have once in my life. But oh my God, they don't fuck around in business class. I'm like, I've never eaten duck before. They brought me duck.
A duck.
No, not a whole duck. They brought me some duck, like parts of a duck.
Hot duck
Hot
parts.
duck parts. I assume the good parts.
Yeah. But I mean, essentially, it's like the death blossom, right? You just wanted to flip up the lid
And push
and
a
just start
button
pushing buttons and throw
get
switches.
home. Yeah. And that's just, I'm not wired for it.
Yeah, but
The thing that I had to realize, it took me a long time to realize, is that I don't have to feel bad for not being wired that way.
Oh
right?
my gosh!
Like,
Yeah, this is absolutely.
that took me until 40 to figure out.
Yeah. Where you just constantly punish yourself for it, in addition to having the original bad feeling.
Right. Yeah.
But what's funny is that it's just an index of how different we are, because I love that trip.
I know. Yeah.
It's like, this is how different, like how much of a flip it is. That is the only time I can relax all year.
But because you have, literally, there's nothing else you can do.
Yeah, but for me, that's a good feeling.
I know, that's what I'm saying. You can relax because you have to. In that
There's
situation.
no other choice.
There's no other choice, except to think about your own death. Just how fragile life is. How you've left everyone you love. Hundreds and hundreds of miles away.
That, for me, that's a plus.
How even if you wanted to, you could not get back to them for days.
God, if only it could be every day.
We came from Australia.
I can tell.
I can tell.
We're gonna do the Tim Tam Slam with your cookies tonight.
Well, you worked out a Tim Tam date?
Well, no,
No, we just come here and we bring him.
Just keep cooking. I'm not saying I hate my job. I'm just has its perks.
And I just want to say everyone in Australia gets it 100% that you can't physically be there. However, even when he called in,
That I can do.
will that be a recurring thing?
I think so.
Yeah, we're gonna have to figure out the technology, because I had a very hard time. Like, it can't be that hard to call another country. Like,
People do it all the time.
Yeah. You would think, right? But like the call was
The latency?
it was like I was on the moon or something. It was really bizarre.
No.
It is bad in Australia. It is so bad.
Yeah.
There's a running joke in the IT community about trying to send packets to Australia.
Well, we'll try to figure out something. But worst case scenario, I'll just do what I did last time and call him.
Yeah, exactly. The very, very worst case scenario, which was my original suggestion, was to script a conversation and then have him do it on his side so that we could actually record it like in 4K, and then none would be the wiser.
Yeah.
But although now you'll be wondering the whole
Even
time.
if I do appear up here.
No, it's fine. I mean, it's like, but the truth is, when I go down to Australia, it's nothing but
Oh,
affection.
everybody there is great.
It's nothing but affection for you the whole time. They're like, hey, make sure that Mike knows that we love him. And I'm like,
Well, that's what makes it even harder. Like, everybody's so nice.
oh yeah, that's
Like, we asked a lady, we're like, how do we, get to this train? And she walked us like blocks to get there. People don't do that here.
Well, on the last one, it's like when it was just me solo there. I was like, they were like, make sure that Mike knows we love him. I'm like, he's playing Super Mario Odyssey. Like, he doesn't deserve shit. He's fine. Don't worry about him. Think about me. What do I need?
Just a quick note, lost opportunity, that would have been a really great way to handle Clone Jim.
Oh, Clone Jim. Actually have the recording. Actually be able to play against yourself.
That would have been crazy. Yeah.
That would have been next level. I mean, so much of it happens live, right?
Well, I was in the dark 100% on all of that. I had no idea.
Oh yeah, you wouldn't have been able to.
Yeah, I mean, I liked the idea that it was revealed to me at the time.
Yeah, I had put that, and Chris and I discussed that plan like probably a year before. Cool.
It's a bit of a shower thought, but maybe it's just the names. Was there any creative connection between Oak True Strike and Wolf Faux Reaper?
No, I think that the model is like one syllable name, and then a 2-syllable compound word. I think as long as you do that, you're rocking a fantasy vibe.
Yeah, I think we're just using the same, theorem or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
The same character name
Yeah.
creator website.
Yeah, the same.
Hey now.
The same script, the same Markov
No,
chain generator.
Faux Reaper is so bad. The no character generator is going to cook down.
No, it's beyond.
It's beyond.
It's like this is why the AIs can never take over.
For Oz, have you considered carrying around a cardboard cutout?
Why not?
Yeah, exactly.
Wait, you know what would be
You should
funny?
do
No. Here's what I should do. I should get the soundboard. What do you want Mike to say? No. I have to have the cardboard cut out, but I should like put it in my backpack, like sticking out, so that you're smiling there. Yeah, exactly. And it's just like people know that you're there. You're with me.
Yeah.
I'm going somewhere.
Like Yoda.
Yeah, exactly. And just have you in the back, just in your little clutch, like this on the edge.
You could trade pins, just jam some in.
Just stick a pin,
sticking him on me.
Just stick a pin into his
In the
hand or
cardboard.
face. I like it.
I really enjoyed Unplugged the first 2 years, and I was really impressed
I love Unplugged.
how much it matured actually from year 1 to year 2.
Definitely. Well, that's Mr. Hartman, of course.
Oh,
Doing a board game show was like it was his fantasy. I mean, I wanted to attend one, but making that show, I mean, he basically had the plan in his back pocket. And so even before we were done with the first one, I mean, he already was taking notes for round 2. So.
Is there anything cool you or Ryan or Laura from work can tell us that we might not know about the future Unplugged?
Oh, well, we can ask Ryan right here. Do you have any fantasies for Unplugged 3.0?
Well,
You're always thinking about shit.
if we're talking about like stuff that I would love to do, but it's going to be literally impossible because that building is very difficult to work with. I would love to figure out a way to get True Dungeon there at some point. That's a show that would obviously be great.
Yeah, especially because some of the theaters that are in that zone across the Sky Bridge, one or two of those might be okay for that.
Well,
but
like,
yeah.
I toyed with getting one of the hotels. It has to be on site.
Oh, there we go. And they would do it. But yeah, True Dungeon would be an amazing match. I mean, the main time we've been able to execute it at a PAX currently is at South, just because the Robert Gonzalez building it has a bunch of new portions that are comically large. Just like ridiculous. Like if you go in, everything is bigger, but including the convention center. But you go in and you go up the escalators to the left, these are like, they're whole buildings. They're just inside the other building. And so True Dungeon has been, do you know what I'm talking about when I say True Dungeon? I think that is cool as hell. I mean, obviously Unplugged is the perfect match for it. But yeah, there's physical challenges with our accursed world.
Are there dates yet?
Have the dates been announced for Unplugged yet? I think that Unplugged is something kind of special and new. I really, really treasure that show.
It's my favorite.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
It's what you hear from everybody.
It's just something else.
Yeah, it's got a great vibe already.
It's just perfect. I mean, the only bad thing about it is how much money I spend. Look, because I spend time in the expo. Like I drop some change on stuff, and then I make Kiko carry it back in his bag, which he planned for. He actually knows ahead of time that I'm back.
I had to buy an extra bag at Unplugged to carry all the shit that I bought at Unplugged.
Yeah, so that's the only challenge is how expensive it is. Beyond that, I can endure the rest of it. Yeah, good.
I had a question about Idle Champions.
Sure.
3/4 of the C team that showed up so far. I believe Walnut is in the 2. Will we ever see Jim or Omen?
Well, here.
I honestly don't know.
Hey, Alyssa, why don't you come up and address the gathered throng?
So we have a plan for Walnut to be in during Waffles Inc., which is going to be in early July.
Even that hasn't been announced.
Oh, yeah. Whoops.
So you did it. You fucking do it too. but
My track record.
no, it's very, very good. Here, but hook them up with, if they don't know, like, hook them up with Waffles, like Waffles Inc. 2.0. Like,
Yeah.
what is that?
So our thought is to do it the same weekend that we did it last year, which is going to be the second weekend of July. I think it's the weekend of the 14th. And so Anna and I are still planning it. We are still trying to get logistics together. But the thought is that Walnut will be in for that weekend. And then Codename Entertainment, who is the company that makes Our Champions, is also going to be a main sponsor for us for C-Team during the second arc. And so we're going to be doing some integration with them during that time. Well, they are exploring getting Omen in as a deity as opposed to a necessarily playable character.
Exactly. So we talked about deity. I mean, that's the reason.
You can retire.
Yeah, exactly. But the conversation that I had with them at South, because they were talking about, because I mean, Walnut was in the queue, and obviously Jim will be in eventually, right? But yeah,
sure.
Wait a time. It doesn't matter. I'm just saying it can happen. But
that's hurtful.
the way that it worked was they were talking to me about getting Omen in there, and I was like, but I mean, how would you?
But I want to be a god.
No, that's what I said. That's what I said. I was like, well, how can Omen be in a party with these people? Like, there needs to be a mechanism outside that. So think about like Halo's skulls or something like that. Some kind of a modification, a global modification to the game state in terms of difficulty or challenge that has an additional reward attached to it. And I was thinking that Omen, or Chris Perkins or myself, not in my Omen guise, we should be able to, you should be able to choose one of these and have them challenge you in a run for extra benefits and things like that. So I don't know which part of the conversation is going to end up in there, but my understanding is that Omen is not going to be playable. Omen will be a type of gameplay that you can apply to your rounds.
Yeah, I think they're calling it like patron or DA or
Patron,
something.
there we go. There we go.
And so the thought is then we're trying to figure out if it will apply for Jim as well. And if it doesn't, then we will get Omen in there in some playable sense. And we're shooting for a West launch of both of them, or an unplugged launch. And then we will look to have the rest of Acquisitions Incorporated in throughout all of 2020.
Melissa.
Yes.
Thank you for producing the book.
Two questions. One, if it's allowed, will we have more Aki the Series podcasts?
We have always fantasized about doing another. Well, we internally we call that the A game, but we didn't start calling it the A game until we also had a C game. Yeah. But we would love to do that. I mean, the truth is that people ask us about that all the time, and there's people who are like discovering AI the series stuff, like because it was on Amazon Prime Video. There's like an episode that's on there for people.
Christmas.
Yeah, the Christmas special, right?
I think now that we have time, it's just we've had so many projects stacked up.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I mean, now that the book is basically doing it, and the Clank, the box set is finally getting to the end. I mean, we're moving into this sort of 6-month period between shows where things like that can happen. And since we have the same studio that we use for all the streams, we can kick out a really, really nice looking game right in the office if we want to. So I think that's very, very reasonable to expect that. And I'm sure we'd be able to get Crawford in on it too. Question 2.
Yes. How about a return to Dark Sun with the season of players?
This is the second time this show that somebody has asked me about returning to Dark Sun.
People asking about Dark Sun.
Yeah, it's been pretty wild. So the reason it's wild is that when we did the Dark Sun adventure, that was the first time I DM'd in a really, really long time. And so I was very nervous about doing it. But no one told me they liked it. Indeed, there was no feedback of any kind. And so I already felt like a fucking poser. I already felt like I had maybe bitten off more than I could chew, and I wasn't going to do a good job. And then there was no feedback. And then the last year, people were like, hey, you know what about the Dark Sun game? And it's I don't even know how to think about it anymore because I've internalized so deeply the earlier narrative of my failure. But it seems like people really enjoyed it. It would not be hard to put that sort of thing together at all. I mean, the whole reason I did that podcast, the idea was that we would have 2 parallel Acquisitions Incorporated stories. I actually wanted Acquisitions Incorporated, the Dark Sun adventure, I wanted that to be its own line of podcasts, but there wasn't any interest from Wizards on it. But nowadays, of course, you just do podcasts. Right. Back then, it was involved in this sort of like arrangement we had with them to make Acquisitions Incorporated stuff. But I mean, I did the whole campaign. I know exactly what happens. It would not be hard to do at all. So yes, I hope.
Oh, from the channel.
From the channel. Oh, please, channel.
Any chance at sharing progress stuff on Club PA, such as rough sketches or first drafts?
Yeah, I could do that.
For what kind of work? I mean, that's all a part of what we do. I mean, it wouldn't be hard to snatch. What's the big draw, you think? Like, what would be the coolest? I mean, everybody else, you're all members of the club, too. We don't have to talk to this fucking phone.
There's a human being on the other end of that.
You can't prove that. So, like, what do we think? Like, if we were going to put up something like in-process work of various kinds, it would not be difficult, at least on my end, to do. I mean, what would be of interest, like, as something in the sketch vein, but think broader than that?
I mean, for me personally, I would love early, like, notes you have on the C-Team games, like that you use for prep.
Dude, I can do even better than that. I actually have the entire first 2 season notes in documents. That I could just share them. Let me make sure there's nothing in there. No, nothing in. I'll release it like the FBI would.
Check out all the racist terms.
Yeah, they gotta go.
They gotta go.
No, so what I'll do is I'll go in and I'll make sure that there's no spoilers for season 2 and season 1, and I'll make sure there's no spoilers for season 3. Because the truth is that I really try to follow their interests and what they're trying to do. Like, I have an arc concept, but I want to make sure that they're engaged the whole time and that it's connecting directly with their character motivations. And so sometimes we do a big turn, we do a big shift away. The truth is that the main device that we use in the C-Team to guide players is jobs from headquarters. That was never meant to be the focus of the campaign at all. In my mind, I thought of this franchise out here as functionally being like an independent contractor that would seek, take, and accomplish its own jobs. But they liked being given the jobs so much, and Walnut liked doing the paperwork for the jobs so much that I made that like one of the main cores of how they interact with that game. But no, so give me about a week to go through there. And again, it's going to be, these are notes, right? But let me go in, and you're going to find things in there that never happened. You're going to find things in there that happened a different way. But it might be really, really interesting, especially for viewers of those shows, to see how I do it. And then also, like, if you see my character, like, typically for me, an NPC will be like a name and then like 2 adjectives. And so then try to figure out where I get these characters from these 2 adjectives. I don't know. I feel like a spirit medium. I have no idea where they come from. Like, if you look at the notes for Trevor, who people think is great, he's a sweet werewolf boy. That's what I've been told. There's nothing in there. If you look at the document, there's nothing in there about Trevor. Nothing. He was supposed to be a joke. And then Walnut befriended him, and now we have all this. That's D&D. That's D&D in a nutshell, too. For real. Yo.
On a similar vein, do you worry at all about the AI book, like spoiling anything for CP players?
No, we've been very careful in the manufacture of the Acquisitions Incorporated book. Its main purpose is to act as sort of bookends for the first 10 years of Acquisitions Incorporated. In there, that's going to be a big spoiler about the actual franchise structure or AI as a company that you might not know. But my fantasy is that this book was worth printing for them, and that they come back to us for a second one. Now, in that second book, I'm going to spoil some shit. But as far as this first one, its purpose primarily is to be a concentrated lozenge of a decade. If you like Acquisitions Incorporated, we've tried to collect as much of that as possible.
Mike.
Yes.
Yes. So you might hate this, and
Yeah, that's a great
Predecessor, yeah, well, doing great. No, but as far as like cool content that might be fun for like gated Club PA stuff.
Yeah.
Have you considered the idea of doing like, you already put up obviously like your process of you drawing the strip.
Yeah,
But
for sure.
like a draw along, like
Oh,
here's how
like a
I
lesson?
do heads, or like here's how I
Oh my gosh,
do
yeah.
X.
This is
in,
the
like,
sort
a
of thing that he
series,
likes
because
to do.
I would do it.
We can record it ahead of time.
Yeah, we could record it ahead of
Yeah.
time. Then we
But
wouldn't have
I
the
mean, I know
stress
you
of being
don't
on
like
Twitch.
Exactly.
Like
exactly.
techniques or something like that.
Yeah.
For sure, and I would be happy to be there on the microphone, adding colorful commentary.
Honestly, I would need that. Like, I don't know what to say.
Yeah.
We could do something like that. I think if I had some questions ahead of time that I could answer, like, because I know I've sat down with Amy a couple times, and she'll be like, "How did you do this? How did you do that?" And so I'll talk to her.
Well, honestly, Amy might be a really good.
That's true.
She's in the office a lot. So Amy actually works out of the office at Penn Arcade now, for most days, which is just a treat. I'm a big fan. But because I was just sitting at my desk when they were talking art, and it was like 2 hours, just trying to literally going down about layer level, like brush thickness, like really detailed stuff.
I like talking about that stuff, but it has to be kind of like picked out of me. I wouldn't know just how to present it.
Right.
But if he was talking with another artist,
Yeah.
it might be really interesting, I think, as content that would be special.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah, I mean,
Like draw-alongs are really fun, and I know all of us, like, obviously we're here, like, we love to interact with you guys.
Yeah.
It's just a way for you to like, be able to do it without having to subject yourself.
but that seems okay.
Yeah, I mean, I really like the Tuesday stream where I'm just chilling and drawing and chatting. Like,
Yeah.
that's an ideal afternoon for me.
Yeah, but no, that doesn't seem impossible at all. I mean, for us, the main thing, whenever we're gonna do something like that, I want to make sure it's something we can maintain and keep up, so that we don't disappoint anybody. But
Would you be okay if we said, "Hey, you guys are all in Club PA. We're doing this once. I can't promise I'm going to be able to do it again."
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, especially if that helps, like, if you guys want to ask me questions about what you'd like to learn about how I do, like, then we just submit them, and if you like it, you can do it again if you feel like it.
Yeah, I mean, that changes, like, I know, for me,
chemistry.
the psychological weight of, like, okay, can I do that once?
Absolutely.
Can
Am I
I do
doing it
that
a million
every
times?
week for the next
Yeah.
year? I don't know.
No, and so for me, like DLC, right? It's one thing to get it early, but I don't want to. I'm not interested in that anymore. I'm not interested in that. And when it comes to the podcast, and put it out to you. You're a member of the club. Here is your podcast. We're never going to talk about Casper beds. We're not going to talk about the purple mattress. We're not going to talk about the purple mattress.
Yeah.
Right? We're just going to have a relationship with each other that's about this content, and that's going to be the whole thing, right? So instead of giving it early, you're the only ones that get it, right? On this tip, like, it's not going to go out to the YubTub.
Yeah.
This is going to be something that we make for the club. That's how I want to make things going forward, like with purpose, explicitly for the club.
Thank you.
Oh, it's my pleasure. It just feels better. That's what I should be doing. Yes.
What's the inspiration behind the drippy PAX logo for this event?
Well, Gav is back here. Do you want to flex? Yeah.
Yeah, it would be like the leopard print MTV, and it would be slime, and then
a tongue or a mouth.
Yeah.
Okay, Oz is the next one that I have.
Me too.
Australia operates on its own timeline.
Indeed.
So Australia's ice cream sandwich.
Oh, nice.
And a fluffy cheesesteak.
I can't say that one.
See, Gav is much better at this than me. I just roll over. I need the tummy rubs. I got time for one more cue. We got it all, really? Yeah, when it's damn near, yeah. Yo.
All right. For
nightmares or to her regular dreams? At PAX, Katie has her own stream. Just any thought of it? Well, here.
Yes, I have put thought into this. It'd be quite a cost association with this. So I think that this would be something that we could do for like a milestone, but it would take a lot of effort.
My fantasy, and I'm hoping I might be able to like this as early as this year at a show, would be the days of sort of like show. So the very first episode forward from there, sort of like passing a baton from game to game during the show. I feel treating a you have a all right, last one.
By my counting, this is the 10th PAX East. Can we just honor that?
10th PAX East. PAX East. I remember the Heinz.
Yeah, I was there.
I was there. It's like a convention that took place in a Minotaur's maze. Terrifying. One could hear his hoots from down the hall. Thank you so much for coming out, everybody. If you need my flag pin, I have got it up here. Come get it. Thanks so much.
It's a nice setup you got there.
Thanks.
I just got the Hero 7, so which has live stream capability built into it. Not for Patreon purposes, but I haven't gotten to play with it yet, though, so I don't know how well it works. But.
Cool.
Brian! Hey! Great! And I'll look you up with a pin tomorrow.
Oh, I'm streaming right now. Right this second.
Did you know you were streaming when you were in the mirror?
No, because it wasn't supposed to switch, because it was on a I don't know why it switched. It was on a different scene.
You looked good.
Thanks.
Yeah. You sound good.
Thanks.
I do have more things that I could trade.
I'm going to see Lydia and Gab.
Lydia and Gab are back there.
Yeah.
Josh.
See, it's that camera. The rest of it's in the backpack, which you can't see.
It really does, yeah. If I had to do it, I had to come with it.
But it could be getting a little hot. It is a...
Do you know Patrick Groove?
Oh, yeah.
Tell him he's doing an awesome job.
You can tell him right now.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Patrick Groove, you're doing an awesome job. Thank
There you go. You hear that, Patrick? I think it's Patrick's birthday today, so you can tell him happy birthday also.
Happy birthday, too. That's phenomenal.
Do you have any bullets with you that I could trade?
I do not.
Okay.
Sorry.
It's okay.
Hello.
It's just been a while. Zayton.
How's it
Nice
going?
to see you. Pretty well.
Say hello.
Hello.
People.
Is this
Zayton.
still going?
Oh yeah, it's still going.
No, I just haven't seen it, but because the last like 3 PAXs were.
I haven't been in like over a year.
And then the last one that was at West, I didn't see. It's like,
Yeah, that was in Japan.
was it worth it?
Oh yeah, Japan's awesome. I love Japan.
Do you happen to have one
Can
of
the
your
mic
pins
pick
on
that
you?
up?
I have lots of them,
Do
but I'll
happen
get
to
you.
have any gold pins
Yeah.
on you?
I don't have any gold pins ready. Sorry. Catch me some other time. I'll probably have them.
Working most of it, so
Well, I will be wandering all over the place, so
as long as it's in merch where I am.
I can come to. I plan on coming to merch. They want to see merch, so
Okay.
hello.
Hello, Josh.
Would you like a pin?
Yes, please.
I will give you a pin.
How was your stream earlier?
It's still going. You're on stream right now. What is your name for the group?
It is. Oh, Josh.
Hey, it said Yoshi.
Yoshi.
Okay, I'm giving you a pin. That's what I'm doing. Forgot what I was doing. There you are. It's very warm. Sorry, phone. Oh, anyways, I was gonna type it, but why type it when I can talk to you? I forgot I could talk to you. If any of you don't know, I am. If you want more PAX and you're not able to come, you should check that out. And I haven't had any dropouts during then, so it could be actually getting a little hot. Anyways, the actual bonding thing is a live view solo, I believe is what it's called. And that is what I am technically streaming from, not from a phone. So it goes from there, it goes up to a cloud OBS server, and then that spits it out for you guys. And so that's what, when it loses, when it starts glitching, that's what it cuts to, is stuff on the server. I'm cutting it out. Yeah. Maybe it's getting warm. Oh. Which last bit? Which bit? Oh, my back's sore. Oh. Oh, well then, check out the Twitch stream, is what I was saying. Check out the Twitch stream if you want more PAX and you can't be here. Maybe some of you didn't know. It only comes out of the left channel. That doesn't make any sense. But good to know. I'll look into that. Has it always been coming out of the left channel? Other people would know.
Hi. Are you doing the thing?
It's still streaming.
You doing the thing?
Still going. Apparently it's a little jittery in here, but still going.
Well, that's okay. Well, maybe you're a little jittery.
No.
Are you okay? You're gonna be all right?
I'm fine.
Can I get you something? Since you're a little jittery.
You know what? You know what you could get me, but I won't make you get me because
What?
that Starbucks drink that I was going to get, but I
Oh,
didn't get to.
I was gonna say, shit, are they even open?
But
What time is it?
I don't know.
No, I think
I don't
it's
know.
only
I would go
dead.
get it anyways.
I know, but you know me, I'm an overachiever.
Oh, the rest of the audio's on both. Okay, so yeah, I don't know. It's just being weird. Well, I think there's only one mic on the cam, so I don't know why it would be coming out one side. Really? Stereo? So if I do this, is it going both? Is it doing both? I know that's probably horrible for you.
Okay. I am incredibly visible.
Oh,
I
yeah.
will be very loud and proud.
As am I. I will wave at you from afar. We're just waiting for Ross.
All right, wait for us.
There's a shovel in the back of my
What
car.
actually happened to the clues sheet? Or like just
just got screwed up by
Oh.
people.
Yeah, maybe it is stereo. I don't know why I would come to both before, but whatever.
Oh, jeez. So when is she? She's coming in tomorrow morning.
All right.
The flight that Shiny was on today.
She was supposed to be on the same.
No, it's not.
Oh,
yeah,
just got the wrong day.
she booked it and then correctly.
Did she get anything refunded?
I don't think so. I think it's media.
I'm sure it was very pleasant, especially for you. Here's your ASMR. I'm just touching the hairs because there's a hair thing.
It's the ASMR thing now.
How's it working?
Works fine for the most part. It's a little jittery in here for some reason because it might be getting hot because I was set up against the chair or something, you know. But yeah, otherwise good. It worked really well in that. Yeah.
I don't know.
It's very creepy.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it's important.
And it was good in the expo hall.
Well, yes, that's true. With the
Not a single problem. Yeah.
You don't want to frighten the camera.
True. You needed to reliably do what you ask it. They'd already screwed him up
You're
once
still
with
on
this
stream,
whole
by the
thing.
way.
I know.
Yeah.
With
Okay,
the
just making sure.
For actual.
Oh, I can.
Oh, you can?
But I have a
you have
like a monopod.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So I could do that. Yeah. I'm actually gonna go up on up above. I don't know. Ryan's gonna arrange that with you and
I would assume, but I don't
whoever.
know.
So it depends on when you guys, because they said schedule it with them, I guess. So you and whoever else have to just tell him when works the best. No, like some other people want to go.
Is the backpack mostly batteries? What's going on in there?
There's a big battery and a bonding little device that bonds four 4G modems together.
Oh, okay. So you can
have signal.
A decent upload.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Without
Cool.
it breaking every time you move around.
Yeah.
Yeah. Although it screwed up that one little area earlier.
Interesting.
Before you went to get ready for right now, it like lost reception.
Oh yeah.
It's gonna dump out at some point.
Yeah.
Ideally.
Well, it's an entertaining setup.
It's pretty cool. It's pretty fun. I like it.
What
There's
is
a
the
better
fuzz
one.
on the camera actually for, aside from your own enjoyment?
The what?
The furry of the camera.
Oh, it's for wind.
Yeah, it's a wind.
So like if you go outside or whatever, yeah.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
And it's also fuzzy.
Yeah, it's hard to tell the way you're rubbing it.
It's good for ASMR.
No, that's gonna haunt my dreams tonight. God, yeah.
And then you do this. Wait, this is how you do ASMR. You go like this. You pretend to touch them in the face. I'm touching your face.